All right, welcome to the Church Dropout. I want to just real quickly here, Lisa, just found a video, just looked at a video where a gentleman, a couple people are, go ahead and handle that. A couple people are, I guess, processing the aftermath of the wildfires and, in a sense, stating, where God is in this particular situation. And it's very interesting what this person says, because it has to do with something that we just spoke about. Your mic not on? Oh, you can't hear nothing? You whispering. I can hear you whispering, though. I don't want to know. Okay. You can tell we wasn't set up for this.
Sorry.
It's all good. So I want to just look at this video real quick. It's heartbreaking, what this man says. Again, we could talk about it after. But again, I think this is important in terms of why I think we need to be careful in terms of how we view these things, that we are not sure about what God's hand is in it. And it's not a matter of whether or not God could be or whether God is. I think it's more of a matter to me of how we should respond. Right? Especially when it comes to things like this. So anyway, let me just play it and then we'll go from there.
For many people impacted by these fires, at least 5 now, there is nowhere left to go. CNN's Kyung La spoke to some of the people who returned to survey the devastation.
Right over here is my kitchen, my living room. Oh my God. Pots and pans and stuff right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey. 25 years I've been here. Easy, 25. Gone. Less than 3 hours.
When you look out at your neighborhood, what happened here?
It just looked like a war zone here. This is a war zone. Looked just like a war zone.
I saw the fire at 2 o'clock. I took a picture, and at 4 o'clock my phone went off and it says evacuate, evacuate. And that's what we did. There's nothing left. I literally just have the clothes on my back. There's nothing. Things that my grandmother gave me, my granddaughter, she's always making me something, and I put it in a frame, I don't have those no more.
Yvette said that this guy's house was touched by God.
It had to be, because it sure didn't burn.
But if his house is touched by God, what happened to the rest of the neighborhood?
God didn't care about us. There it shows it right now. But I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to close my gate, and I'm going to get out of here, because it's just making me sick.
I'm going to run that back just one more time.
Right now.
But if his house...
I don't have those no more.
Yvette said that this guy's house was touched by God.
It had to be, because it sure didn't burn.
But if his house is touched by God, what happened to the rest of the neighborhood?
God didn't care about us. There it shows it right now. But I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to close my gate, and I'm going to get out of here, because it's just making me sick.
Okay. Yeah, that is devastating. First thing I want to say real quickly is that, this whole idea of God's judgment being on Hollywood and the stars and stuff like that, these aren't stars. These are regular folks, who are impacted by it, right? These aren't individuals who appear to be rich.
Right.
And, and that's why we just got to be so careful with saying stuff like this.
Yeah.
Attributing God to this. Now, what he said was man, it was horrible.
Yeah. Yep. And I wonder, does he really think that, or was that just a question just caught in the moment? You know what I mean? But that's sad, and if you think what do you think that person is going to say. You know, if they're saying God saved this house, you know, quote unquote, then, you know, but everybody's house around them are torn down, are burned down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like you would probably expect someone to say what I just said. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is that Irene, I think the person's name was, or whoever she said the person's name was, said that, you know, that house was, you know, blessed by God. What's interesting is that she says that because the house is still standing, without knowing anything about the owner, without knowing anything about who lived in the house or anything like that. Right. Like
Yeah.
it's just interesting, right?
Yeah.
That because that house wasn't touched, that must mean that God blessed that house. Right. In the same way, people are drawing correlations between, you know, this destruction by fire with God's judgment. Right. It's just interesting to me. But the way it all played out was just, I don't think the reporter even knew the depth of her question.
Right.
Like, I think she was surprised.
Yeah.
She thought that he was going to say something different.
Right.
And she asked a great question.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
if that house is blessed by God, then what does this mean for the rest of the houses? God doesn't care. He didn't care about us. He didn't care about the rest of us. That is a real statement in that moment. And it's horrible.
Yeah.
That this man is saying, like, man, 25 years of my life gone, right? Many of those people didn't have insurance or couldn't have insurance and all of that type stuff. But 25 years of my life gone, and God preserved this house, but didn't care about me, didn't care about us, you know? And this is why we just got to be careful of putting God in these things in that way, you know, that God's hand was directly related to what's happening without even knowing if it's a natural disaster, without even knowing what's going on. Right. Again, I'll just go back to what I said before. What we do know is what we're supposed to do as the body of Christ. We cannot see whether or not God was directly behind this. We can point to it and say, hey, you know, we could use it as a tool to talk about things that are eternal, which is fine. But to put God's hand in this causes stuff like this.
Yes.
Causes these types of theologies to form, that God doesn't care about us.
Yeah.
And as Christians, we need to move closer towards people who are suffering, especially in these instances. And, you know, but anyway, I thought it was profound. I thought it, you know, spoke to what we were speaking about. And it's just a horrible situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That God is somehow tied to, you know, the survival of one house versus another. And that equals out whether or not God cares about individuals, which is why the church needs to be the church.
The church. Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Just horrible.
Yeah.
So anyhow, any last words?
Well, I just pray for these people, this neighborhood, this, you know, it's actually bigger than just this neighborhood, but, you know, the whole city that's affected by this, you know.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.
Good night.